Hi class, my name is Diana Coda, and I will be presenting the first part of our presentation on probability. Probability is how likely an event is to happen. Some events are more or less likely than others. For example, Eric is a very fast runner and is in a race. The chance of him coming in first place are not certain, but very likely, due to the fact that he's very fast. Events can be categorized into possible, impossible, and certain. It will rain tomorrow. That is possible. A rock will sink in water. That is certain. You will have 2 birthdays this year. That is impossible. Probability can be presented on a number line. This is called the probability continuum. The left side, or 0, represents the impossible. The right side, or a 1, represents that an event is certain. Anything closer to 0 is unlikely. Anything closer to 1 is likely. And smack dab in the middle is about half even chance. There are 2 types of probability. You have theoretical and experimental. I will go over theoretical first. The probability of an event is the measure of the chance of an event occurring. When probability of an event is known, like a coin toss or a roll of a die, the probability can be established theoretically by examining all possibilities. The little picture down in the corner asks to find the probability of spinning yellow. There are 3 different sections that represent the color yellow. Total, there are 8 different sections that represent different colors. So your theoretical probability of spinning and landing on yellow are 3 out of 8. So just like spinning on that color wheel or rolling a die, you can also flip a coin. The probability of flipping a heads or flipping a tails is 1 out of 2, or 50%. The formula to set up probability is the number of desired outcomes divided by your number of possible outcomes. So the probability of rolling a 6 on a die is 1 out of 6. To figure out the probability of rolling 2 6s when rolling both of your dice, you multiply the probability of each one together. So one die gives me a 1 out of 6 chance, and the second one gives me a 1 out of 6 chance. So you multiply your ones together, and then you multiply the 2 bottom numbers, the 6s. So my probability of rolling 2 6s is a 1 in 36 chance, or 2.78%. Now I will explain experimental probability. Experimental probability is found by repeating an experiment and observing the outcomes. So it's the number of times an event occurs divided by the total number of your trials. For example, if we use a coin toss, and we toss it 10 times. You land on heads 7 times, and you land on tails 3 times. My experimental probability of landing on heads would have been 7 out of 10. And my experimental probability of landing on tails is 3 out of 10. So now we're going to do the activity, and we're going to do a coin toss ourselves. I'm going to flip this coin 5 different times and then record my data. First flip gives me tails. Second flip gave me tails again. Third flip gave me tails. Fourth flip gave me heads. And my fifth flip gave me heads. I will now record my data. So my first 3 flips gave me tails. And the last 2 gave me heads. How many times did your coin land on heads? 2. How many times did your coin land on tails? 3. Well, as I explained earlier, theoretical probability is just how many times something can happen. If I flip a coin, my chances of getting heads are 1 out of 2. Same with tails, 1 out of 2. Or 50%. My experimental probability is how many times I observed something over how many times I actually did something. So, for heads, I only flipped 2 of them, but I did it 5 times total. So my experimental probability for heads is 2 out of 5. Or 40%. My experimental probability for landing on tails is 3 out of 5. I flipped it 5 times, but I only landed on tails 3 times. And 3 out of 5, if I divide that, I get 60%. Also, if you notice, if I add that together, I get 100%, which is what it should be. That wraps up my portion of probability. I hope that you guys have learned a little more on experimental and theoretical probability. Thank you.